from Drop Dead Ink back again. So in case anybody saw my last really short, horrible lit video, I made it thinking that when I was in the hospital recovering from a back surgery that I deleted my entire playlist, which I was happy to see. Even though I technically deleted the playlist, I was able to save all the videos. So I, needless to say, deleted that horribly horribly looking video that was talking about basically adjusting the stroke length on your coil machines, like bending springs, whatnot, how to set liners and shaders. So I got all my videos back, if you want to check that out. Also, I did notice, and I do want to apologize, I did notice I got a bunch of comments that I never really got a chance to get back to. Basically, the reason for that is, I mean, I am a custom tattoo studio, so most of my time spent either tattooing or making a couple short videos here and there is I end up the night before pretty much drawing what I think I'm going to end up tattooing the next day, or just drawing it right in front of the client. So I don't have a lot of time, but while I am in recovery right now, I'm currently not tattooing. So hopefully if anybody does leave any comments, I'll be able to get to them. And if you have any really, really major serious questions, my email address is in the description on this page. What I did want to talk to you guys today about real quick is basically the best black tattoo ink I've ever used. And I know probably people like me have gone through a bazillion different color blacks, different brand blacks to try to find the perfect one. I will say this Allegory I found was really good. If you just want to buy like a pre-mixed, already made one. Really, really good, solid ink, easy to use. But, so I'm going to divulge one of the old school secrets of tattooing, and I'm probably going to get a little backlash for it. Not too many people on YouTube in particular talk about this. Let me just start by saying, you ever see any of those old Japanese tattoo masters and they got their little bowl and they use their kabori sticks with like super large needle groupings and they're dipping it in this bowl of like syrupy looking ink? So that ink that they've been using for literally hundreds and hundreds of years probably is not stuff that you would normally just buy like off the shelf or from a tattoo supplier. I did find on Amazon, it's called, well, basically it's, oh my God, it's kaimei. I wish I kept the bottle, but the pour on it was effed up, so I ended up chucking the bottle and just put it in a normal bottle, 4-ounce empty bottle that I had kind of laying around. It's calligraphy ink, but I will say, for one, super dark, super rich, super black. I bought, I think, a 7-ounce bottle for roughly $7.40. Technically, ironically, off Amazon, which I swore I would never buy tattoo ink from. But I got it. I will say too, before I used it on anybody, because it is really, really thick ink, and like I would normally do, say like people that use Talons, a lot of old school guys use Talons, which is basically drawing ink, or Pelican, which is all they used back in the day, like in America. You can actually watch a Sailor Jerry video on another playlist I have on this tattooing. It's an old video about Sailor Jerry, who's like a legend in my eyes, one of my biggest influences as far as tattooing goes. And one of the artists on there was talking about Pelican ink, which is another drawing ink, which is basically, everybody used that back in the day. So if I were to use, say, and I still do occasionally, or did last time, I had some Talons that I was using, mostly for like outline and tribal stuff. Again, really super rich, super black ink. But, well, for one, because this was so thick, and normally what I would always do with like something like that, and it's plant-based, it's completely like vegetarian ink, is like I'll take a 1/2 ounce ink bottle. I'll put about 50% distilled water, another probably 40% witch hazel, and 10% glycerin, which is a skin protectant. It's like a goopy kind of gel you can buy at Walmart for fairly cheap. So for $7.40 roughly, I got a 7-ounce bottle, so that's less than $1 an ounce. I've been using it, I used it prior to my surgery for gray wash. I made some gray washes out of it. so I got quite a bit. I mean, for the bargain, I got enough to make. They have this bottle of just solid black, and like a dark medium and light gray wash. Um, and again, like, so for the gray wash, you would just kind of thin it, appropriately or whatever. Or you can just, I see a lot of people just putting drops in ink cups and trying to count the drops to make their own gray wash. But yeah, so again, it's calligraphy ink. There's a bunch of different brands on there. I'm not sure, what you might find. I know there's one you could get a big 16-ounce tub of it for like $14. Not kaimei, it's kaimei. I really wish I kept the bottle because the bottle looks so cool. But again, the pour was effed up, and because it's imported from Japan, the threading on it was different, so I didn't have like a regular American per se ink pourer that I could use on it. So just put it in empty bottles. And one other thing I did want to go over, well, two other things actually. So I did buy this sumi cherry gray wash ink. Well, for one thing about sumi, and I always hear complaints about this, and I totally agree, is they tend to leak, like out of the pores up here where the pour actually goes onto the bottle. They tend to leak. One simple thing you can do to fix that, electrical tape. So usually I'll just wrap some electrical tape around it, just put a lighter on it real quick or whatever to make sure it doesn't like come loose. So that fixes the leaking problem. So this is deep cherry shading ink. I think it's good shading ink. I haven't had any problems with it, but you only really get a good cherry effect on certain skin types, like usually redheads, ironically. Very, very light skin tones, you get a little bit of a red effect. But again, it's good shading ink, so I mean, if you're not too super worried about the cherry aspect of it, it's good. It's the same price as their regular shading ink, so whatever. They also make a bronze shading ink, which I've also heard you don't really get much of a bronze tone out of it. So I would personally, obviously, just stick to the original if I had to do it all over again. But again, this Allegory Black, fantastic. And so with this, again, kaimei is calligraphy ink. With slate, I did a little bit to it to make it a little bit more skin friendly. Again, it's very syrupy, like you would see in those old Japanese. If you've ever seen any Japanese videos, that ink is like syrup, but they've always been known for doing super rich blacks and colors, for that matter, in their tattooing. So that's just a little insider secret, and again, you can get the stuff like Royal Talons, which is also really good. That's drawing ink, and I would pretty much do the same thing with that as far as mixing something into it to make it a little bit more skin friendly. So anyway, like I was saying, needless to say, I did use this and the gray washes that I made out of it on a few customers before I went to the hospital. Never had any bad reactions, only had positive. Some people were like, wow, I can't believe how dark this is. It's staying so black and whatever. It's actually getting darker. So that's just a little secret I figured I'd throw at you. Again, I apologize. I thank all you guys, all my followers, very much. Sorry for the absenteeism. I was in the hospital for quite some time from a back surgery I'm still actually recovering from. I had some metal and whatever put in my, I had a T5, T6, which is like your upper spine. And I'm currently self-administering antibiotics through this PICC line. It's a peripherally inserted central catheter, so I'm doing that by myself at home. I think I get off the antibiotics the 29th of this month, so hopefully after that I'll be, back to tattooing again. God, I miss it. And since I have nothing else to do, I bought a bunch of new tattoo machines. I haven't been really getting out to spend any money, so I bought a bunch of new, pretty much rotary tattoo machines. And so I'll do some reviews on those coming up shortly. But again, kaimei, it's Kaimei on Amazon. And it's in calligraphy ink, and you can find a bunch of different brands. Some of them actually just say for Japanese art. Some will say specifically for calligraphy. But, think about it. Even in jails, what people have done, even since tattooing has begun, people would get a cut and rub ash into it. In jail, granted, infection is pretty prevalent in jail with tattooing because mostly they tend to reuse needles, and just the conditions in jail aren't particularly sterile. You get a bunch of people packed in together. But I mean, they like burn Bibles or books or whatever, and mix it with Vaseline and put water in it. And there's some pretty impressive jail art out there. I think I have another video on my tattooing playlist that is actually about prison tattoos. So that's another playlist you can check out. Again, thank you guys for your support. Thanks to all my followers, my first followers and my newer ones. Hopefully we get some new videos out for you guys soon. All right.